Hello, you degenerate old schoolers, and welcome back to another very special episode of The Orb. If they're not all fucking special as it is, this one's extra special. It's a top 8 playoff match. We're looking at Xpoint's 39 held online on Titania. Every month, top 8, so we start with the top 16, typically out of about 55 or 60 participants. We have Tim back again. He was featured about a week ago. Lovely Nether Void deck, his top 16 match. This is his top 8 match. And he is playing against Johannes, Soft J, Hard J. Who can say? I'm just here speaking what I say. He has the longest name that's ever been featured on the Orb, and I think he should win a special prize for that. Just that alone. I want to know if he won every spelling bee growing up. Because once he figured out how to spell his name, I think he could spell about anything out there. And I'm going to be disappointed if he didn't win every spelling bee. Tim's like, my name's long, especially if you add in the Timothy. And Johannes says, I don't even think your full name is as long as my first name. And my last name is 22 more characters. So, enough about names. Let's take a look at these decks. And here we go with a look at Johannes' deck. I call it the 12 by 12 by 12. I don't know if that means anything in a relay. I'm fat, so I don't run much. But he is running 4 Flying Men, 4 Ironclaw Orcs, and 4 Serendib Efreet. 12 creatures. He's also running 4 Lightning Bolt, 4 Chain Lightning, 4 Sonic Blast, 12 Burn spells, and then 12 other really good spells. His points, he has tied up 5 into his Ancestral Recall, 2 more into his Time Walk, and then he's running 3 Factories. So, those are some pretty good cards. He also has counter spells in there, a couple Shatters. He's running Paperbacks. And you may be saying, Mr. Orb, why is he running Paperbacks? Well, his deck is so low casting cost, he wants to be able to pitch a mountain or island back to the bin, rip a new card off the top, and make you eat 3 to the face. He's nice like that. Also carrying 1 Fireball to finish the game off, Chaos Orb, and then red and blue land with a couple City of Brass. His sideboard, 3 Control Magics, and those are so powerful. They almost always end up being a 2 for 1. He's got a couple Red Elemental Blasts, and then a couple Psychic Purges, and then a myriad of shit that I can't really tell what it is. So, Azure Drake's in there if I haven't mentioned that already, a blue Elemental Blast, but the rest is just going to be unknown. It's Johannes' choice when he pulls out the sideboard. He can choose if he wants to play with those other cards. I'm pretty sure one of them is a Shatter. So, yeah, this deck is super low, efficient to the ground. It does not want to see you gain 1 life whatsoever, and it sticks in for 20 as fast as humanly possible. I like it. So, let's take a look at Tim's deck for the month. And here we go with the pile that Tim built. That should be hanging on someone's wall somewhere in the south. The pile that Tim built. It's got 2 Nether Voids and a fucking Titania song. It's mind-blowing. I fucking love this deck. I mentioned it before. This is all I can think about.
I am very excited. Yes.
Sacha Baron Cohen could not have said it better. I think he was just staring down at this deck. It's such a wild child pile thrown together. It does have answers. It's got Ice Storms. It's got Mana Ramp. It's got Moxen. Got a couple Factory of its own. The Black Vice, Paralyze, mind-blowing card to have in here. A couple Atogs, which we saw him come in last game, about a week ago, with Atog and do some serious damage. So I can't wait to see it again. Tim does play a few cards to deal with his opponent. He's got 2 Whirling Dervish, a couple Ivory Tower, which will be key in this matchup. Tim's going to want to gain at least a few life and really set Johannes' deck back. He's also had Flash Fires, a couple Gloom. The Red Elemental Blast will come into play again. The Tsunamis may come into play. That City in a Bottle is going to be huge that sits in there. It's tough to see on the photo. There's some glare sitting on there, but that is a City in a Bottle. I think Terror is going to be in play. Tracker could be a real thing too. Tracker can eat down those flying men, and they are tough to deal with. Those 1/1 flyers that come out turn 1, they are very tough to deal with. And then a Falling Star. I think we'll see that probably jammed in, for sideboard action as well. So, I feel like I've said enough words. I'm super excited. Top 8. Let's go take a look at the match. And here we go with game number 1. Tim's on the play, shoves down a Bayou, followed by an Elves of Deep Shadow. Immediate mana ramp with the Elves. 1 threat on the board. He passes off to Johannes. We're going to pronounce it different every time. He fires down 1 Volcanic Island and a Chain. $10 million volts straight to the Elves of Deep Shadow, and they are no longer with us. So Tim's back on the play. Johannes is showing us a deck and then taking it back. Tim's barely showing us his deck. That's alright. Good news is the vast majority of us are following rule number 1, don't be a dick. Tim fires down a Badlands and a Black Vice. So Johannes was 6 in hand. It's going to be taking some damage from that Vice. Yep, goes down to 18 from the Vice. Tapping that Volcanic, and here we go, 1/1 Flying Men. And he also fires down a Factory. Wow. So, Johannes' deck, absolutely means business. He is not here to fuck around and play cool cards. I shouldn't say that. He's playing great cards. He's playing very efficient cards. But he's playing the let's count to 20 quick like. I like playing those decks myself. I'm on one of those this month as we speak. So Tim fires down a Pendlehaven. Taps 2 for a Howling Mine. Okay. He wants to speed up hand size and dig through his own deck to find those good cards. Johannes is probably smiling and shaking his head yes. He wants to apply that extra pressure, and drawing an extra burn card a turn is a fantastic way to do it. So he gets a Mountain down, and looks like he's going for a quick activation on the Factory and the Flying Men coming in. So he's trying to poke back in for 3. And that Black Vice has done a few damage. Johannes is also already on 17. So 2 of a kind, they're both on 17 now. And looks like he's passing. Passing with 6 in hand, so that Black Vice is going to continue to do work. It is a little bit harder to dump through your hand in Xpoints. It's not nearly as bad as 7-Point Singleton, where it's just a nightmare where you're playing 1 card a turn. But Xpoints is significantly slower. A lot of decks are, at least. at this. Tim plays down a forest and an icy manipulator. What a great combo with Howling Mind. You know, he can shut off his mind and draw extra cards. Oh. But Johannes is just sticking him in the face with a bolt. Good idea, so he doesn't take as much damage. Down to 5 in hand, so Vice still gets him for 1. He goes to 16 life. Tim's reminding him to get those extra cards. And yeah, really at this point, the Icy's probably better used at, you know, turning off creature damage that's coming in after him. Johannes plays at least 3/4 of an island there. And he's activating Factory and coming in for 3 again. So Tim's down to 11. This burn deck is hauling balls here. But he's drawing 2. He does have mana now available for the Icy. So Tim fires down a Taiga. Oh, look at this. Bayou's being tapped for a fucking Paralyze. How sweet is that? Tim's deck is just a drain on resources here. Followed by, here, draw some extra cards, take them in your hand, and take some more damage from Black Vice. I love it. Okay, Shatter down. Brutality. I'm sure that's going to the Icy. I mean, that's going to be between the Paralyze and the Icy. I mean, he can shut off all damage here that Johannes is going to throw at him. Okay, yeah, he's shutting off his extra card draw on the way out the door, so just 1 card this turn. Howling Mind is tapped. Johannes is not untapping his Flying Men. That would take all his resources. He is activating Factory again. Factory coming in for another 2. Tim's down to 9. Johannes, he's in 15. I mean, that Black Vice has done some damage. But Tim needs to work on taking complete control and finding an answer for that Factory. Factory is such a pain in the ass. I mean, I say it every episode. Everyone knows how good Factory is, but doing work here. Tim fires down another Bayou. Tim's tapping 2. Ooh, Howling Mind. Second Howling Mind. This doesn't feel like a super good play. I mean, I know Black Vice is your main way of killing. See if you can follow it up. Oh, Relic Barrier. Okay. So Tim needs to dig. And Tim just played a backhoe. And he's going to fucking start digging here soon. He's going to be looking at 3 cards a turn. Oh, brutal. Sonic Blast. Tim's getting a bad headache. Yeah, headache right on down to 5 life. Johannes is down to 13 with the 2 back from the Side Blast. But that Relic Barrier will answer Mishra's Factory. One upside. Relic Barrier is very, very good at dealing with factories. So, yeah. Johannes should have taken, I believe, another, well, he might have gone down to 4. I take that back. He probably went down to 4 cards with playing that Side Blast at the end of his turn. Draws back up to 7. Should be back down to 6 and now 5. Chain Lightning right in Tim's face. Down to 2. Never get below 3 with the red deck, and that's it. Yeah, Lightning Bolt. Shit, that 20 went quick. Really, that last 10. Went in about the last 30 seconds. So game number 1, Johannes takes it, and the boys pack them up and shuffle them up. They're going to swap out some cards, and we'll take a look at game number 2. Alright, so Johannes came running in, throwing lightning bolts and flying men at Tim's face, and took it game number 1. Tim's on the play, and look at this, firing down Mox Emerald, Forest, and Relic Barrier, and he says, "You're not going to get me with that fucking factory again." I think I see him pointing his finger at Johannes here. No, Relic Barrier does many things, especially when it can turn off your assets too, when it can turn off the Howling Mind. Johannes fires down a mountain. And passes. So look at this. Tim's firing down his Howling Mind, shutting it off. So card advantage is going to be going his way very soon. I mean, he needs to draw an extra card or two to make up for the cards he played to get him card advantage. But after about the next 2 turns, he's going to be a net cards ahead of his opponent. Johannes plays a island, one of my favorite islands, and a time walk. Look at this. Points abound. He says, "I like my turn so much, I'm going to do it again." Playing down another island. So Tim's on the go and drawing 2. Pendlehaven's out. That's a really good card when you have 1/1 elves. He shuts his mine off and says, "I'm only playing in this mine. Get away." And passes off to his opponent. Johannes fires down a mountain. He's up to 2 mountains and 2 islands. I mean, he can now counterspell and then fork it. Just some thoughts. Very even land distribution. He is passing back to Tim. So this is kind of surprising with how low his deck is to the ground. I'm shocked he hasn't started firing off Burn straight to Tim's face, but maybe he's waiting to get closer to 7 cards in hand until he has to. It's his deck. I'm sure he plays it way better than I do. But nonetheless, I'm going to sit here and guess. So, Tim turns his toy off. His toy's the Howling Mind, and he passes again. So, not much going on. They're both peacocking with their mana base. Ooh, Johannes ripping off an Azure Drake here. 2/4 flying out of Legends. Not particularly good, but kind of great at the same time. I mean, he's cannon fodder in front of a Sarah Angel, but he might be kind of tough for Tim's deck to deal with. Johannes passes. Tim rips 2 new cards. Oh, Tim shuts off his toys. Still playing in the mine alone. Looks like we have an Elves of Deep Shit. Multiply that times 2. 2 Elves of Deep Shit. And a Paralyze. Wow, look at this. Drake's been tapped. You can enjoy him again for a mere 4 mana every time you want to untap it. Oh, Tim, look at this. Strip mine. Oh, taking out a land. So upkeep, he doesn't even have the choice to undo the Azure Drake. Whoa, that was a big turn of events. Johannes gets one card. You know, it feels like Tim just started driving this game along. I mean, they're both draw going. He's got access to a ton of mana, and a Nether Void would be really, really good at this point. Oh, look at this. Chain Lightning. Elves of Deep Shadow is DED dead, and more Chain Lightning. Son of a bitch, I should run it back again. I'm not going to. Murderous. A lot of direct damage. Johannes has 4 cards in hand. Azure Drake is being eaten up by a Paralyze. And Tim says, fuck you. I want the elves. It plays more elves. He also fires down a factory. That's a good out. Shuts off his Howling Mine. He is insistent that he will be the only one drawing extra cards. And that Howling Mine is doing some heavy fucking lifting for him. Which is spectacular. That's what you want to happen. Johannes rips a new card. Moves his lands around. Okay, Volcanic Island, number 2. He's up to 5 mana. Now he plays down a Flying Man. And a quick pass. So Tim rips 2 cards. Johannes has to be about to the point where paying for that Paralyze may be worth it. So it looks like Tim's activating up his factory. And here we go. Creatures coming in. Uh-oh. Lightning Bolt. Johannes hooks a kite to Tim's Mishra's factory's nipples and sends it flying in a lightning storm. Factory down, but elves are being pumped by that Pendelhaven. They're cracking in for 2, and I don't know if you'd believe it or not, this is the very first damage of game number 2. Johannes down to 18, Tim on 20, and we're about a million turns in. I could be wrong on that. I think we're actually about 6 or 7 turns in, but it feels like it's been a while. So Azure's Drake has done nothing. And that Paralyze has done the work. Oh, look at this Flying Man. Flying Man sent straight to the electric chair. Tim's the one over there throwing the switch. I think he threw it 2 or 3 times. Oh, here we go though. Dib. Serendib Efreet. A gorgeous original one. Hits the table. You know, another Paralyze would be terrifying. Wouldn't be quite as good as a Terror, but in some ways it may be better. Just a way to lock that Dib down and still let it deal 1 damage. Just a gift that keeps on giving. Oh my god, there it is. I'm going to need a Paralyze animation soon. Ooh, saved by the counterspell. Counterspell on Paralyze. Paralyze hitting the bin. Probably a really smart move. That dip can do some serious damage. You know, he's not meant to be a good blocker. So, yeah, Tim shuts down his artifacts again. He's the only one playing in those holes. Rightfully so. Johannes takes his card. I think he's up to 2 in hand. Eats another point. Well, he eats a point from the dib, I should say. He's down to 17, and now Tim's down to 17. So, even ball game. And look at this, another Azure Drake. He's tapping 4 mana. Oh, and then a quick pass. So this is getting serious. Next turn, Johannes can pay and untap his second Drake and come in for 7 unless Tim's got some answers. Tim's already shutting off the mind for him again. Yeah, coming in and pumping with Pindlehaven. Looks like Johannes is down to 15. But those flyers are going to be a real problem if Tim doesn't answer them soon. And here we go. Okay, he's untapping that Drake. Let's see what 4 he's going to pay. He goes to 14 with Paralyze. And he's coming in for 7. Yeah, Tim goes from 17 to 10. That is brutal. And he plays a factory. Johannes plays a factory. This game is starting to tilt back the other way. Tim's tapping 4. Does he have some answers here? Tsunami. That's kind of big. That's going to wipe out at least 3 lands. Yep. He's not going to get to untap the Drake. Tsunami is kind of good. That was a 3-for-1 and a direct attack at the mana base. Oh, Ivory Tower. Look at this. Tim's insistent about not getting in that grave that Johannes has been digging for him. He says, I'm going to wait my lawn chair over here. And gain some life. And look at this, shutting down the Howling Mine. Johannes will continue to not play in Tim's holes. Yeah, trying to come in for 7, but can't with the Paralyze, so 1's already tapped. Tim's eating 5 to the face, though, so that is a serious problem. He's on 5 life. Johannes has, I believe, 1 card in hand, fires down another mana source. Tim tries to crawl out a little bit. Gains a couple life, or gains 1 life with the Ivory Tower, up to 6. Icy Manipulator, look at this. Wow. That's huge. That's key. Tim keeps coming up with answers. That Pindlehaven, along with that Elves of Deep Shadow, will keep the factory at bay. Okay, yep. Johannes hit the next mana source, so he's untapping the Drake. Not good news for Tim. Yeah, he's sending the party in. Oh. tapping down the dib so he takes 1 less damage. Johannes fires down a mountain also. I mean, Tim is on 2. This is dangerous. He needs like a paralyze followed by another paralyze would be really good right now. Even another icy would be spectacular. A board wipe would be mountainous. Speaking of mountainous, bye-bye Mishra's Factory. Ice Storm is in. So, I mean, that is a big deal, but he is still left with 4 mana to tap that Drake. And Tim is on 4 life. Okay. Yeah, shove it in for 2. Johannes goes down to 10. Tim says that mine safety inspectors only are allowed down in the mine, and he puts on a hard hat and walks in. And puts some fucking caution tape around the mine. So Johannes still will never draw a card with Howling Mine. Back off to Johannes. He is paying the 4, untapping all 3 flyers. He's down to 9 life. Tim's on 4. Let's see if he has a way out of this. So tapping down the dib. Wow, and that's it. Tim doesn't have an answer but a bunch of land in hand. Johannes takes it 2-0. Congratulations to him. As always, thanks for watching The Orb.